Hi again, folks. In this video, we're going to look at 5 things that could be bad and could be good that we don't know about with the Sabres this season. Coming up. All right, guys, another one. I'm going to go over the 5 good things first. There's 5 things that I just charted down, and these are just some random things that one has nothing to do with the other, but things that I wanted to point out that we just might not be aware of to what extent with the Sabres this season that are good, and 5 things that aren't very good at all. So let's take a look. We'll go right into it. Now, the first thing I got on my list is Cody Eakin. He has, on the faceoffs this year, won 207, lost 158 for 56.7%, leading the team in that department. And if you go look at Ryan O'Reilly, he's also 56.7% this season. Is he as good as Ryan O'Reilly? No. But how much does Ryan O'Reilly make again? Just a point of thumb with me, when I look at things like this, I look at the money. I always look at the money too, because how can we not? We have a thing called the salary cap. We have to look at the money. So Eakin has been why I believe we can get something for him if we trade him at the deadline. We could get something for him because there's teams in demand for a guy that can win faceoffs. There is, especially heading into a playoff run. And a lower bottom 6, cheap, doesn't cost much, this guy. Number 2, Dahlin, 22 points in 34 games played, 0.64 points per game. He's on a 53-point pace in 82 games, which will be a career high. Dahlin is going to have a career high this year in points. Unless we don't get all the games in. He will have a career high in points this year. As much as we like to rag on him and bitch about him and complain about him, his numbers say he's doing what this system, this Buffalo Sabres system wants of him, which is to score points. I know the fans, it drives them nuts, the mistakes, the defensive mistakes, but he is getting better. And we do have to give it time because this guy this won't be a career year if he gets 53 points. We're looking at a guy here that can get 80, 90 points eventually. Potentially. He could be a point-a-game guy eventually, easily. And if he gets better, bigger, stronger, it's kind of scary to think. That's number 2. Number 3, Kyle Okposo. Most of us realize that he has put together a very impressive numbers compared to what we were expecting, right? Before, I didn't expect him to be this good. I know he has slowed down, then he picks it up, then he slows down, he picks it up. So Okposo's only going to be so good, especially at his age, guys. I mean, he's not a young guy anymore, you know? In 21 points he has in 33 games, 0.63 points per game, which is a 52-point pace. In the last 2 years, he had 32 points combined in 87 games. He already has 21 points in the 33. So, you know, he's on pace for the 52. And he's had 32 points in the last 2 seasons combined in 87 games. It's really quite an improvement. And I owe him an apology because I never thought he had it in him. I never did. Number 4. Quietly, without us realizing, because we're frustrated with all the losses, is Jeff Skinner is on pace for 28 goals this year. And I think all of us would jump at that number if he could just get that for the next 3-4 years. If we can get 100 goals out of that contract, I think we'd jump at it, even with how many years are left in that damn contract. But Skinner's on pace for 28 goals. And for his entire career, I believe that's right about his number. Even with all the slumps and everything that he's had, I believe that's his average, right about that. So Skinner has brought his game back to the table this year. It's good. It's not a bad thing, guys. It's not a bad thing. I'm happy with Skinner this year. I am. And number 5, Hayden is leading the team in hits. Pleasant surprise. 54 hits in 27 games. Hayden making his physical presence felt on this team, which we desperately need. Desperately need. Those are the 5 things I picked up. Now I'm going to go over the 5 things that are kind of driving this guy crazy. Leading the way is Olofsson. 26 games played, 1 power play goal. 26 games, I'll say it again, we all talked about how he's a power play specialist. 26 games played, 1 power play goal. Those are Taylor Hall numbers, guys, of last year as a Sabre. Olofsson, I believe, has 5 this year. It's just not enough. It's not enough. And the truth is, everybody's kind of caught on to his wrist shot from the right side on the power play. The whole league's onto it. You know, it's predictable. All they do is block him out every time now. So Olofsson's got to pick up the slack. He needs a big game. To be honest, I don't think he's going to get it. I'm talking like a hat trick or something. He needs something to happen, because where Skinner's jumped back on the production line, Olofsson's regressed. We can't catch a break sometimes, guys. Dylan Cozens leads all forwards with a -11, and he looks it out there. He does. He looks lost at times. He just looks lost. And he has shown flashy signs, because Dylan Cozens has... He's one guy that I could tell you that has had... He's one of 3 guys that's on a pace to get 20 goals, though, on the team this year, right? So Dylan Cozens leads all the forwards with a -11, even though he's probably the 3rd most impressive guy when it comes to scoring goals on the team right now. So he's got to fix his game. But again, the sophomore jinx, I believe in that. People think it's a jinx. I believe it's teams looked at the videotapes of last year, and they're more prepared now what this guy's going to bring to the table night after night after night. It's called doing your homework. So Dylan Cozens, it's a sophomore season. It's always a tough one for everybody. It is. Not to excuse it, but we'll give him a pass this year. No matter what, he's still scoring enough goals. He should have 20 goals by the end of the year. Number 3, only 8 of our entire roster have 1 hit or more per game average so far this year. And that says it all about this team, really. Only 8 guys in that entire roster have more than 1 hit a game average the entire season. How do you not throw a hit in 60 minutes? It's one of those things that makes me nuts. Number 4. Only 3 players are headed, well, there it is. There it is, I just talked about it. Only 3 players are headed to 20 goals or more average this season, which is Thompson's headed to 29, according to the numbers. Skinner's headed to 28, Cozens is headed to 21. We only have 3 20-goal scorers in this lineup, and that could take a dive all of a sudden too. So we got to hope that these 3 at least continue doing what they're doing. You know, you do need 6, 7 to have a competitive team. My opinion, the more the better. That's for sure. And number 5, the Sabres are currently 25th in the NHL in height and 22nd in weight. And for those of you that don't put much weight into those numbers, I do, because those are important numbers. You got to be a big team and a heavy team and a physical team to win Stanley Cups. If you're going to use Montreal this year as a cop-out and say, well, no, because that team got hits. Well, I'll point out something to you. Tampa is one of the top hitting teams in the league. Tampa is number 1 in height, and Tampa is number 1 in weight. And what's Tampa done the last 2 years? All right, folks, that's it for this one. I'm going to try and make another one. I'm on a roll. I'll see you in that one.